Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars franchise seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars TV shows and their movies in the mix that's really going to give fans a very, exciting and positive future for the franchise overall. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney and Lucasfilm is that they really are very, very ambitious now about Star Wars and exactly where things are going for the franchise. It's the main reason as to why we've got Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni creating their own universe, as I like to call it the Favloni universe, that's going to consist of Rangers, the Book of Boba, the Kenobi series, the Ahsoka Tano show, and more to come in the next couple of years. Now, everything related to Disney CEO Bob Chaypek, in case you guys are out of the loop, he's going to be on his own very soon. Bob Iger's going to step down and walk away from Disney completely. The only reason as to why he came back in 2020 was to help during the global crisis. And that's exactly, why he's still technically around helping Bob Chaypek. So we technically had two Disney CEOs throughout 2020 and the beginning of this year. Now, given that Bob Chaypek is working very closely with Jon Favreau, Dave, and George to make sure that Star Wars can thrive and actually succeed, is that he's actually really, in touch with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni on the creative end of things and exactly how things are turning out with Star Wars. Let's not forget that Chaypek was the one responsible for stripping Kathleen Kennedy's creative power away from the majority of the Star Wars projects, except for the Star Wars The Acolyte series. Now, with that being said, now that The Mandalorian Season 3 is moving along in the development phase, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are indeed hard at work on their new Star Wars universe. It's described, however, that recently Disney CEO Bob Chaypek took part in an interview where he was able to answer questions about the future of Star Wars. Bob Chaypek at one point in time stated that what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are putting together for Star Wars is absolutely beautiful and will be a new treatment of the franchise that will reflect on how fans view the sequel trilogy movies. Bob Chaypek goes on to unveil that what Jon Favreau is doing with the Mandalorian series and other exciting projects is that it will most certainly change specific angles to the sequel trilogy films that will make the show actually far more interesting to some of the casual fans as well out there. Chaypek also was able to reveal that Favreau is on a mission to change the fans' perspectives on the major motion pictures within his new projects that he is working on with his partner Dave Filoni. So let's stop right there for a second, alright, before we actually move on here. Now, this, without a doubt, is a big tease of Jon and Dave restarting and changing many aspects of the sequel trilogy movies. Not only do we have a 4-hour cut of Episode 9 coming out in holiday of 2023, that's Chaypek's major plan, but we also have Jon and Dave establishing these major retcons within the Mandalorian series that's going to have a major impact on the actual sequel trilogy movies. So everything related to Chaypek seems to be going in the right direction. There is no doubt about it here that what Chaypek is doing as the president now, of course, or should I say the CEO of Disney, what he is doing is that he is creating his own legacy of how he handles Marvel and Star Wars. Again, he's the one responsible for allowing Kevin Feige to come on board of Star Wars. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the big guy from Marvel Studios, right, is now becoming a part of Star Wars. So it's going more so in that direction as far as how expansive it's going to become. You're going to see this franchise, 10 plus years from now on a very successful note, without a doubt. It's heading in the right direction. They're starting to cater more so to the fans and what they want to see, either on the big screen or at home on their streaming services. The other thing is that Bob Chaypek is also allowing better creators to come on board over at Lucasfilm. We already know that, director Steven Spielberg is going to become an executive producer for a handful of projects for, Disney Plus TV shows. In fact, Spielberg is already working on a live-action Halo film, so he has the right requirements for Star Wars as a franchise. Looking at the fact here that we have George, Jon, and Dave also working together to deliver as much authentic content as possible, you can see exactly what it's going to look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, maybe even 10 years, of exactly where it's going to stand in comparison to what I always call the Kathleen Kennedy era of Star Wars. You know, we have seen what she did with the sequels. We have seen what she did with Solo. And now we're going to finally be able to see what it's going to be like without Kathleen Kennedy. And we're already witnessing this with Mando Season 2's finale. She had no involvement on that on a creative scale, let alone the entirety of Season 2, creatively speaking, of course. So, like I've said before in the past, things are looking bright. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel here, and things are really starting to shape up for the best. So, like I said before in the past, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding on the one. From night to moon, we hear them moans again.